Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to talk about something that's been in the news a lot lately, and that is 2A sanctuary states. There's been a rash of states saying, we're going to pass these laws to where our state is not going to enforce federal gun laws. And I want to come on here right now and answer the collective questions that people have been sending me about these states and say, it means nothing. Because a lot of people have been sending me questions like, what does this mean for me? Does this mean I can do this? Does this mean I can do that? It means nothing. It is a symbolic gesture at best. At worst, it is a waste of taxpayer money and creating dangerous situations for people who live in those states. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get mad right now and they're going to be like, oh, my state can do this. We won't enforce it. They'll stand by me. No, they won't. And here's why they won't. Because they don't have the authority to do so. It would be unconstitutional for them to try to override federal law with state law. That is not the way it works. Federal law takes precedent over state law, period. End of story. As far as the Supreme Court and any other court is concerned, they have ruled on that precedent time and time again. So when your state politicians decide we're going to take all this time and spend money and blah, blah, blah and get these passed, all they're really doing is giving you lip service, which is what they do all the time, give us lip service and don't give us any real results. And this is a way of them doing that, knowing they're not giving you any results, but hoping you'll think they actually did something for you. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, it can work, though, because this is just like the federal marijuana laws and how states like Washington and Oregon and other states have made marijuana legal, but they've gotten away with it because the feds say, no, you can't, but they get away with it because the state said, yes, we can, and we won't enforce these laws. Well, no, it's not like that at all. Because here's the thing. The feds are the ones that first said, we will not enforce these federal laws. We will not come into your state and try to enforce them if your state passes laws contrary to the federal law. Therefore, states were able to operate with impunity. But that's why a lot of people were really upset when Jeff Sessions became Attorney General, because he said, I am going to enforce the marijuana laws. And that meant everyone in the marijuana industry in the states that had legalized it would have instantly been felons. And they were very worried about that because they knew there's nothing they could do about that. Their states had no power to protect them. The feds could march right in, take over their businesses, shut them down, put them in prison, and they knew it. Same thing with gun laws. The only difference here is the feds aren't saying, we're not going to enforce gun laws. They're definitely enforcing gun laws. That's why I think these are so dangerous. Not only are they just a waste of taxpayer money, they are very dangerous for the people who live in the states that pass them. Like Arizona is one of the states that just passed one. And if you live in Arizona, well, there'd be some people there that may not understand the complexities of this issue who go, my state doesn't enforce federal gun laws anymore? Great. Go out and get my double barrel shotgun, saw it down to a sawed off, and film me a YouTube video in the yard expressing my newfound freedom in the state of Arizona. And then you'd be surprised when the feds show up at your door and arrest you. Even if the feds have to come, the state would probably do it if the feds told them to. And here's why. You got to remember, a state can say, we're not doing this. They can't stop the feds from coming in, but they can say, we're not going to do it. But here's the thing, if they do that, the feds can then say, great, you don't get any more money for schools or roads or your Social Security programs or your retirement benefits, any of that stuff, because that comes from the federal government. You ain't getting it as long as you're not complying with our rules. And since Arizona is one of the top 10 taker states in the union, meaning they take way more money back from the federal government than they ever give in taxes, they couldn't do that. They would immediately be bankrupt. They'd be closing schools, cutting off WIC payments, everything, immediately. That ain't going to happen because of you and your short barrel shotgun. They're not going to go to that extent to protect you from these laws. So don't fool yourself. This gives people a false sense of security, makes them feel like somebody's done something for them when they haven't. All you're doing is sucking off a bunch of politicians for blowing hot air up your skirt and not really doing anything for you. You're falling for the same old shit they do to us all the time. There's no such thing as a sanctuary state when it comes to federal gun laws. Now, on a county level, if they're saying, my county's not enforcing state laws, that's a little bit of a different issue. They could still face the funding issues, etc. But a county sheriff has a lot more leeway over enforcing state law than states do over enforcing federal law. So when you're looking at, sanctuary counties inside of a state that say we're not enforcing state laws, that's a little bit different. But even at that level, they can't say we're not enforcing federal laws, because even though the sheriff is the number one law enforcement authority in that county, he's not above the federal authorities. So isn't going to work legally in any way. But like I said, these things are just lip service. We need to quit falling for lip service. We need to quit applauding politicians for doing nothing besides wasting taxpayer money and giving people false hope. Now, a lot of people will say, well, it's symbolic. There's other ways to be symbolic without making people think that they're free from tyranny when they're not. That's like someone coming up and saying, we've passed a rule in this concentration camp that says you're no longer required to stay. Everybody can walk through the front gate. And then the guards start shooting people as they walk through the front gate. Did that guy really do anything good for them? Was that a great symbolic gesture to say we're all free when they weren't? No, it got a bunch of people killed. It got them shot trying to escape. And that's what these things are. They're little more than that. So don't fall for this sanctuary state bullshit. There is no such thing when it comes to the 2A. If the federal laws still stand, then they're still enforceable, no matter where you are. And that's why it's so important that people not become complacent, not think things are being done that aren't, don't think they have rights back that they haven't been given back. Stop falling for this political garbage, because when you do, you don't fight as hard as you should. And like I said, right now, as long as these federal infringements stand, then we all still are suffering under them. There aren't some states that aren't. There are some states that suffer under state laws that are worse than federal, but as long as the federal laws exist, no matter what state you're in, they still apply to you, no matter what a local politician wants to tell you. So don't give them credit for things they didn't do. Don't become complacent. Don't believe stuff that isn't true. If these laws still exist, keep fighting, because sanctuary states, as far as the 2A is concerned, that's just a bunch of bullshit. All right, everybody, with that being said, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today during gun talk, I want to discuss 10 millimeter ammunition, because I got an email from a viewer who asked me, what is the role of 10 millimeter in self-defense? Should it be my go-to caliber? Is it the best caliber for self-defense? Is it good in revolvers, semi-autos? Is it too much for self-defense? A whole bunch of stuff they asked. So today I want to address the role of 10 millimeter in self-defense. Now, my own personal opinion, and remember, this is just my opinion. And since it is only my opinion, that means it is, of course, undeniable fact, because I am a self-proclaimed internet gun expert. So keep that in mind when I'm giving you my opinion. But my opinion about 10 millimeter, is that it is one of the optimal semi-automatic handgun cartridges you can have, period. It is not too much for self-defense. There is legal precedent on the books now that say you will not face extra scrutiny because you used 10 millimeter. So it's perfect if you're carrying a semi-auto. It only becomes a real problem when people start thinking, well, since it's such a great round in semi-autos, it must be something I want my revolver chambered in. No. I hear people all the time, when is Chiappa going to make a 10 millimeter revolver? Well, I'm like, well, why would they? They already make 357 Magnum. The 10 millimeter would have no advantages over the 357 Magnum version, unless they completely redesigned the frame and made it a little shorter so the gun would have a little bit smaller dimensions overall, which they're not going to do because it's not cost effective. So there's really no reason to have 10 millimeter in a revolver. When you get into revolvers, there's better calibers, more powerful calibers. And since you're going to be limited to the same number of rounds in the cylinder because you're limited by cylinder diameter, not magazine size or grip size, it's not going to really be beneficial. But in semi-autos, where your other options are like 40 and 9 millimeter, etc., the 10 millimeter is going to be more powerful and hold almost as many rounds, because the capacity is dependent on the grip size, magazine size. Which, if the gun can just be a little bit taller and hold just as many rounds as like 9 millimeter. And it can be the same size and hold just as many rounds as a 40. Just means the depth of your grip's going to be a little bigger. So, and that's not a big change. So really 10 millimeter is a great self-defense round. And it is what I would consider an optimal semi-automatic round. Especially better than like 9 millimeter and 40, etc. Even though those are good, competent rounds, 10 millimeter just has lots of advantages. And I don't really consider things like, Beowulf and all these other things, these weird boutique calibers you can go to, as being all that great for self-defense. For one, usually the kits aren't that reliable, the rounds aren't that available, etc. 10 millimeter checks pretty much all the boxes: availability, versatility, variety, power, etc. So when it comes to semi-autos, 10 millimeter is awesome and will be probably the best option, in my opinion, until something like 7.5 Burno or something, or 7.5 FK becomes popular and becomes available. 10 millimeter, until something like that happens, 10 millimeter is going to be the optimal round, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to self-defense in semi-autos. But that doesn't mean it's the optimal round all across the board. Everyone knows 357 Magnum, once again, my opinion, so complete fact, is the best self-defense round. So as long as you're looking at semi-autos, 10 millimeter checks all the boxes, as I said, has every advantage. It's just awesome round, one of the best rounds made in a very long time. So it's great. It's what you should go to, in my opinion. Don't worry about it being too powerful. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. It's not that super expensive. None of those things. So it's great. Unless, of course, like I said, you carry a revolver, and then it ain't so great. All right, everybody, this is where I usually end the show with viewer EDC, but since we've had a special fundraiser going on, I want to address that one more time before we're done here. I want to say basically thank you to everyone that participated, because if you didn't know, we've been doing a fundraiser for the service dog of a viewer who needed some medical care and who is now doing well and on the mend. It's going to have to wear some braces for a while until they're fully healed, which is going to make an already large and clumsy and goofy looking dog even a little clumsier and goofier looking for a while. But they are on the mend, and that is partially, not partially, it's mostly thanks to you all, because you all fully funded their medical bills. We sold the caliber conversion chart poster over on my webpage, tympistolproject.com. I put forward enough funds to order 200 of these, thinking it would take a while to sell them. Well, as of the time I'm filming this, they're almost sold out. We've got like 10 left out of the 200. And one person donated like $500 when they bought their poster. So we're there. We've already met their bills, and then we got some left over that we're going to give to another charity, and I'll let you know what that's going to be. But that'll go towards that. So great success. If you haven't got one of them, I can't even tell you you can get one now. You should be able to. The last dozen or so things usually take forever to sell out because everybody gets them early. But like I said, only about 10 of them left now, and we are fully funded. So not too worried about that. If you don't have one and you wanted one, go over and get it now. I mean, I don't usually do sales tactics like that, but I cannot guarantee they'll be available beyond today. But like I said, just wanted to thank everyone. The puppy's doing great. Going to be making a full recovery. Like I said, just going to have to be a little goofier looking for a little while. But I wanted to thank everyone that got involved. I hope you enjoy your posters. I'm going to frame mine tonight, actually. I got my frame and everything. So I hope everyone enjoys them. I don't really do merch, at least not to just promote the channel or anything. But when it's for a good cause like this, I enjoy doing it. And I'm glad you all enjoyed participating because, like I said, I'm just the enabler here. You are the people that actually did the work, and you're the ones that actually funded the treatment and recovery of this puppy. So I want you all to congratulate yourselves. And I just wanted to say, once again, thank you. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be better, but it ain't that bad. But it could be better. And if we continue to ignore the fear mongers and the profiteers and the people who want to manipulate us and profit off of us, if we ignore them and keep level heads about ourselves as we continue to fight for our rights in this country, what those things will be in the future is they will be better.